guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about what to do if your medical coding training program is not teaching you for Ahima, the American Health Information Management Association, or Aapc, the American Academy of Professional Coder Credentials. What to do. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, now, not all medical billing and coding programs are created equally. Not all of them are the same. A lot of them vary in lengths of time, and of course what their course actually does cover. So the thing that I have always said, and the thing that you would know if you were looking in the job listings, is that employers are looking for Ahima or Aapc credentials. Again, Ahima is the American Health Information Management Association. They have the CCS, which is the gold standard of medical coding credentials. They have the CCA, which is a Certified Coding Associate, and they have the CCSP, which is a Certified Coding Specialist Physician-based. AAPC, or the American Academy of Professional Coders, has their flagship credential, the CPC, or the Certified Professional Coder. Now, here's the thing. These are the four main ones that employers are looking for. Any one of these. Now, sometimes these fast-paced medical coding programs, and they'll usually be like 2 months. Oh, you can be on your way to a brand new career as a medical biller and coder in just 2 months. Ridiculous. It doesn't matter if you've been a nurse before. It does not matter if you've had a medical background. It literally doesn't matter. Medical coding is a completely different field, and it takes time and it takes effort to learn. I always say that a good length of time for a medical billing and coding program is 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months. Any one of these, you're good to go. Now, before any of you says, well, what about AAPC and their 8 months? Because their coding is usually like 4 months, and then like their medical terminology and anatomy is in a separate bundle, and that's usually about 4 months. So altogether, it's 8 months. 8 months is a heck of a lot better than 6 months or 4 months or horribly 2 months, okay? So with all of that said, if your program is not training you, and maybe they're training you for some off-the-wall credential or something that is just, it sounds like it's a medical coding credential, but if you look at the job listings and you don't see people asking for it, and there's people that say, well, does this mean that I won't get a job at all? You know, if I have this credential, have you even tried applying yet? Even if you have a credential that is not recognized widely in the industry, and let's just say you completed your program and you say, well, I want to start in medical billing and coding, so you apply, and they say, okay, well, we'll hire you, but basically you have to get your credential through Ahima or AAPC within 6 months. Sometimes it'll be a year, okay? So it would just be like you are out there applying, you've completed a program, but it's like you don't have a credential, even though you have some weird off-the-wall credential, okay? And I'm not saying the name of these weird off-the-wall credentials because I don't want to advertise them on my show, okay, guys? I don't want you guys looking at those. I want you guys to focus on the credentials that the employers are looking for, which is the CCS, the CCA, the CCSP, or the CPC. Now, I will be doing a breakdown of what each of these cover on a separate episode. But I just wanted to talk about this today, guys. When you ask me questions like, does this mean I won't get hired? Does this mean does this mean I that? Have you even tried to go out and apply? And see, if you're not out there applying and you're just asking me, I've already mentioned in my videos what my thoughts are on which certifications employers are looking for. All you need is one. The CCS, the CCA, the CCSP, or the CPC. That's all you need, is just one of those. And again, if your program is not teaching you specifically that, but it is teaching you medical billing and coding, you can always look at the independent study video that is always in the description box below. It's got the syllabus. It's got the breakdown of all of the times and everything else that you should be spending on some of these subjects. Now, if you are a nurse coming in and you're already proficient in medical terminology and anatomy, certainly you can adjust and skip, or you can speed up or slow down or spend more time on a particular subject. Whatever is good for you, because that's what this is. You can study independently. All 4 of these do not require anybody to go through a formal program. You can have no formal training as long as you study on your own, prepare for these tests, and you can certainly take these tests. So that's the thing that, is available out there. So with that said, don't give up just because you hear me say that, this is what I recommend, this is what I recommend. What I say on my channel is not to scare you, but if you have been doing your research and perhaps you're out there and you're about to start, or maybe you're going to sign on to a program and you kind of want to know the deal, and then you hear me mention something else about like Ahima or Aapc, and that's where you should go through, then I've stopped you from making a mistake. And that is part of the goal too, because I don't want people out there wasting their money. There's a lot of these fly-by-night schools that are out there ready to take your money. They are ready to sell you the fantasy of a new career and a new life, but they don't tell you how hard it is. They just tell you, oh, if you go through this 8-week program, or if you go through this 16-week program, you'll be ready to go and you'll be ready to start a brand new career, when there's so much more to it than that. Okay. And I will always speak freely because it's freedom of speech, guys. And not only that, I really, truly love the field of medical billing and coding. And I have spent the last 15 years of my life perfecting my craft. And so now, I've shared my views and my thoughts about this with all of you. And, I do this because I want to spread awareness. There's a lot of self-serving folks out there, like with these schools, trying to sell programs. And people are getting taken advantage of because they had no idea that it involved so much hard work. When you see the salary of a medical coder, that should start to tip you off that there's a lot to it. You can do very well without having a degree in this field, which is crazy. And a lot of people are just like, wow, I have all of these advanced degrees and I have this, I have my undergrad and I have this and I have that. And medical coders make more than I do. Guys, it's just something in the industry. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to be able to learn all of this, okay? So with that said, the whole point about it is that if you're doing your research, you'll find this out. If you're just finding this out now, it's okay. You can complete the program. You can use the independent study. Again, it has literally every single subject covered, okay? That's on the majority of these tests. And then you can just use it to review, find out which certification you want to sit for. And again, I'm going to be doing a separate video about the breakdown of what these credentials cover yet again, because this question is coming up again and again. And I'm like, I just did this video, but I will do it again because that's what you all, the audience, wants. And that's what you all are commenting, that you're still having some confusion about these medical coding credentials. So I will cover that separately. And so that way you all can hopefully get some guidance from there. But just do the independent study, get what you can get from the school. And this is another thing too. Somebody said, well, this school is paid for, but they're training me for something else, not Ahima or Aapc credentials. Should I just drop the program? Well, it's free. It's free. Hello? Take the free education. Don't drop the program just because they're not training you for that. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to sit for Ahima or Aapc. It just means that you're going to take what you get from that free program, and then you're going to incorporate the workbooks that I have recommended. Again, they're in the description box below on the independent study video link. You can find them there. Use that to study, to prepare you basically on your own for Ahima or Aapc. And either one of these, all you need is just one. That's all you need, because any more than that, it gets confusing for new people. And then I do get those comments from folks that say, well, Blue, my instructor told me that I need to get all these credentials so that I can make more money. You're not even in the field yet. You're not even in the field yet. You have no idea what you're doing. And you're following the advice of somebody who's trying to sell you a dream. I'm not here to sell dreams, guys. I'm here to give reality checks. So that way you guys understand that this is not a game. These guys are a business, okay? And it's up to you to be the discerning consumer about how much you're going to give them, okay, guys? Because it takes money and it takes time and energy to be able to maintain these credentials, okay? It's just like when you're getting your continuing education units. You have to spend time in those classes learning those things, okay? It's taking time away from your extracurricular activities, taking time away from other things that you could be doing, okay? So that's just something that you guys ought to know, you know. It's not easy, but if you stop and look at the job listings, you're going to see that a lot of the things that I'm saying is going to make sense. They're asking for Ahima or AAPC credentials. They are only asking for one credential. I have never seen an employer say, candidate must have multiple credentials to get this job. So when you hear that, when you hear that from a school, when you hear that from somebody that's trying to sell a program, oh yeah, you need all of these credentials because it's going to make you look much more competitive than other people. That is simply not true, okay? What their employer is going to be looking at the end of the day is those assessment tests and how you do on those assessment tests. Yes, we still have to have assessment tests because some people are lucky enough to be really good test takers. So they do really good on, passing a test, and then they're out there in the real world calling themselves a medical coder. But then when they're given tests to assess their skills, because everybody's different, they can't pass these. And then all of a sudden they're not getting calls back. And then all of a sudden they're getting frustrated and telling everybody that medical coding, oh, it's a scam because I can't get a job. You can't get a job because you're not studying. If you don't know the material, you're not going to be able to understand what's going on, okay? When employers are hiring, it's because they need people, and they need competent people to look through the documentation and understand what's happening. And again, these credentials are saying that you are proficient in this field, okay? And all of these other credentials that are out there that are weird, that no one is asking for, you will see that in the job listings. And why do you see that? Because certain ones, before a certain time, right? Before a certain time period, there is one in particular. Still not going to say the name because it irritates me. But this one particular credential has our field in its name. Then it has, all these things. But up until a couple of years ago, you weren't even required to have medical coding manuals to take that exam. Really? You're calling yourself this in medical coding, but you didn't have manuals that you took the test with? Now they do. Now they changed it. Now they have to have manuals to be able to take this test. And I think they're trying to elevate the level of this test, but really it's kind of ridiculous. So again, when you look in the job listings, you're not going to see employers asking for this one because the tried and true credentials have come from Ahima or AAPC. Now Ahima is the leader because they're the ones that are working up there in Washington on all of these things. They're the ones that are hands-on with everything and all the processes and stuff. So AAPC is a for-profit organization, so they are for-profit. Ahima is a non-profit. So there is a difference in the business philosophy of both of them, okay? So that's just something that you guys ought to know. You have to do your research and do not listen to other people when they say, oh, AAPC is easier. That is not true, guys. It is not true. I have had many people come to my channel who have failed multiple times because either they just did not get quality education, they're not studying hard enough. There's a myriad of reasons why. But these tests are not easy breezy like a lot of people try to make them out to be, okay? It does take a lot of effort and a lot of study. And I'm just going to leave it right there. So before you write in and say, well, I have this and does this mean I won't get? Have you tried to be out there? Have you tried to submit your resume? And your resume better be good because like I've said, resumes matter. Resumes are going to be the difference if you are going to get a call back or not. There's a lot of times where people are trying to blame the industry for not hiring them just because they're brand new. And then when I look at their resume, that's exactly why. That's exactly why they're not getting calls back. I see it all the time on LinkedIn. They're complaining because, no one wants to call them. And I'm looking at their resume and I can tell you exactly why. they're not getting that call. You know, when you write a 3 or 4 page resume, no. 5-page resume, again, no. So make sure that you watch my videos about resume tips. If you need a resume rewrite, you certainly can pay somebody to rewrite your resume for you. I write resumes. My next availability won't be until April the 9th, 2023. And I am uniquely qualified to write medical coder resumes because I am a medical coder myself. And I do know what the buzzwords are and what these employers are looking at. So I've been very successful with the resumes that I have written. So that's just something that you ought to know. A lot of times that there's these professional resume writers that are just using the same template for everybody. So that's just another thing that you ought to know. You have to do your research. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to leave that there. It's short and sweet today. But again, guys, you have to put forth the effort. And if you get free education, take the free education. It does not mean that you cannot sit for Ahima or Aapc credentials in the future. It just means that whatever they're teaching you is this off-the-wall credential. It doesn't mean that that has to be the only thing that you have. And for those of you who say, well, Blue, I can't afford. That's another thing. Let me say this before I wrap this up. For those of you who say, well, Blue, I can't afford. We live in a society of entrepreneurs and side hustles all the time. There are so many ways to make money really quickly and things like that. You see them all the time on the internet, okay? All the time on Instagram, and where they talk about, you know, expanding your money and things like that. So like getting these other little jobs and things. So there's ways to make money, guys. It's not impossible. And when you are coming into this field, that's something that you ought to know. You are going to have to sit for an exam. And the exam is going to be roughly $400, okay? Roughly, all right? If you get the membership, it may be a little bit less. With Aapc, another $205 has to go on there because they are a business, a for-profit organization, and they do require you to be a member before you can pay to take their exam. And then depending on how many tries you want to have, the 1 try or the 2 tries, right, is going to affect the cost. So something you ought to know. With Ahima, the nonprofit organization, there is no requirement of membership. However, they will charge you differently from their members for the test. So again, roughly $400, but it could be different depending on if you have the membership. But the membership is already rolled in. Sometimes it depends on which package you have, right? So that's the thing that you have to know. When it comes to that, you have to be ready. And, you know, it's not a surprise, guys. You know you have to sit for a certification exam afterwards. However long your program is, you can save that money here and there. You know exactly how much you're going to need at the end, okay? Or you can always go with the old-fashioned one of, okay, I'm going to try to get out there and tell them that I've completed my program, take their assessment test, and pass it really well, so that way they'll let me hire me on without being certified as a medical coder yet, and then maybe they'll give me some time to get certified. But keep in mind that if you do this, they do not have to start you off at what a medical coder makes, because technically you are not a medical coder yet. You're not certified yet. So that's just something that you got to think about, guys. It's a lot to think about, but it's not a shocker that we have to take a certification exam, okay? That is not a shocker. So the fact that you say, I don't have the money, I can't do this, I can't do that, again, there's many ways and many entrepreneur ways, side hustle ways to get that money together in order to sit for that certification. This is the field that you chose. This is what you wanted. This is what it's going to require, okay? So if you are able to get into some place and maybe they want to take a chance on you, great, because then you got hired without your certification. And a lot of people do that too, but then they are going to be asking you to be certified within 6 months, sometimes within a year, sometimes up to 2 years. I've had one person who commented that their employer was gracious enough to give them 2 years to get their certification. So with that said, now I will go ahead and wrap this one up. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. Don't give up. And just continue to do your research, watch my videos, look through them, because I've got a lot of advice, and you just take the time, you'll see there's answers to everything. Look at the job description, look at the description box, and you'll see all of the recommended books that I do recommend to help you study, to augment your studies, and to help prepare you for the real world. I'm just saying. So with that said, if this video helps you, I hope that you will like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.